Alright, so I built this kit here to be able to air up and air down all my tires at the same time. Went to Pismo and used it. It was fantastic. Made a couple modifications since then, and I'm going to make a couple more, and I'm going to talk through that. I'm going to show the pump that I use to pump everything up. Well, let me start down at this end. I got these off of Amazon. They're quick clips. They clip onto the tire chucks. They stay on here. If you go ahead and build a system like this, make sure you use closed valves. Originally, the ones I got from Harbor Freight, I didn't like the way they were connecting the tires. They had kind of like this L shape. They didn't connect so easily, so I like these ones a lot better. Each of these hoses are 25 feet in length. While I was at Harbor Freight, I ended up getting this pressure gauge. It goes up to 160 psi, but then it's kind of harder to read on the actual gauge portion. And then let's see here, this one here I went ahead and got when I went to the Granger store, and this one goes up to 30, so I can see in between a lot easier, especially right there when I'm getting in between 10 and 20 out off-roading. Got this shut-off valve from Harbor Freight. This is a 3/8 inch. It's listed somewhere on here. 3/8 inch. And then this 3-port manifold I got at Harbor Freight as well. Same with this. I'm using, with the exception of this 3-port manifold here, all of these are universal connectors. All the plugs are the industrial. This one here, I got this from Harbor Freight. This connects to the tires here, and then I have this connects to the pump because I don't have a fancy compressor. So if you want something like this, this whole thing costs about $10. This adapter here, if I ordered this again I'd order this is actually called like a tank valve or something. So I'll have links to that on Amazon. I would order a different one because I had to use this adapter here to go from 1/8 inch thread to a 1/4 thread on the quick connector. So that's a couple things I'd do differently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera down. I'm going to show what connecting everything up, draining the tires, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill them back up. Alright, so here we are back at the tire here. Let me go ahead and connect this real quick. So what I do is I'm going to take and air down to 30. So I'm going to insert this chuck here, put the pressure gauge into the adapter. Okay, and then each one of these tires go in here. Right, so now all I have to do is just connect these to the tires and air down. So like I said, it's really easy to view down to 30. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and push this on here. And the air that you hear is actually, it's pressurizing the entire system here. So go ahead and just give it a front press. Oops. There we go. Go around, drag the other side. So the one of the ones that I got from Harbor Freight actually didn't hold air when it was closed. So there's another guy online that has a similar system. And one of the things he mentions is that when you're using these closed valves, they won't let any air out when they're not connected to the tire. So let's see what the heck. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, so they're all four connected. So let's see here. Where is this manifold here? So grab this, pull this out. Right now it's over 30, so I'm just gonna hold it down and watch it drop. Once it gets down to about 2, I'll check it. The reason I use this 3/8 valve and this Y connector here is so that it lets out more air. If I just had one hose like the other guy that did this online, it's not going to let air out as quickly. And you can already hear that it's not letting air out as quickly. And it's coming out pretty quick. I mean, I'm dropping 4 tires super fast. So, says it's underneath 5 right here on the pressure gauge. If I close it, still only down to 24. So, like I said, I need to go down to about 2 on here for it to be close to about that 15. But I mean, it's letting all the air out of all 4 tires really, really quickly. Okay, so I'm down to about 2, and what am I at? I'm at 16. Right, so when I'm running on the beach, I run down to 15 psi. Okay, so let a little bit more out. Close it. Now I'm just under 15. That looks pretty good. So if I was done, I'd just come around and disconnect all of these. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. All right, just unclip them all. All right, and they unclip really quick. The other 4-wheel drive tire deflators, you have to screw them onto the valve stem. See, look, I'm done. I can run on the beach. I just go ahead and put the caps back on, and I'm basically set. So this was deflating. Took about 5 minutes. That's about how long the other tire deflators do take to be able to deflate, and that's with connecting them and everything. And I put the system together, did all the quick connections in that 5 minutes. So I'm pretty impressed with this setup. One of the things that I'm going to do now is I'm going to hook this up and refill the tires. I'm going to replace this pressure gauge here with the one that goes up to the 160. I'll put that down here. All right, so that connects up really quickly. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect all 4 tires again. All right. I guess I could have left this system hooked up, but give it a nice firm press. All right, and see, I could go a little bit farther up here, so I can go quite a bit farther if you had a vehicle with a bigger wheelbase. bigger tires. Right. So nice firm press on the tire chucks, and they're firmly put in place. All right, and then here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. When I was at Pismo, I ended up using the I left my truck running for an hour and had this guy running, but today I'm going to cheat a bit. I'm going to plug it in and set it. So all right, so let's see here. Need this, okay. I'm going to put this inline fuel air filter in here. When I was down at Pismo, I was getting some water in here, so I built this really quick the other day for this. I don't know how much it's going to filter out, but we'll see how well it works. There's another trial by testing it out here, right? Now this thing's really cool. As soon as I get there, I can open this up, right? I can then see what this gauge is reading, and then what I'm going to do is connect this guy here, connect this on my deal there. Right, it says my pressure right now is at 15. I don't know if we can read that, 15. So I'm going to hit play, let it start pumping up. Immediately jumps up to 19. So in this system, it immediately jumps up to 19. I don't know why it jumps up to 19, whether that's an error or what the situation is. But this should take about 40 minutes to inflate. Should see the tires rise back up off the ground. Should be cool. All right. Well, this thing says 37.5. I turned off at 38. This is right underneath 40. I don't know if we can see that here. Let's see here. So this is right underneath 40. So I would assume that's 38. Top pressure on these tires are 44. I'm running right here 245/70 17s. So however long that took to pump up there is how long, you know, it takes. Yeah, turn this camera off here real quick. All right, so let me disconnect everything. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually shut this valve so that it can't drain out here, right? So we'll pull the pump off. There we go. Turn it on, unplug it. All right. So the max pressure, like I said, in my tires are supposed to be 44. So I'm gonna take this, put this up here. All right. Let's grab this valve here. Oops. Let out a little air. That should be okay. So it's pumping in hot air. When it cools down, it should be closer to the 40. Right now it's in between. It's closer to 40. There's 30, 35. I'm gonna let a little bit out just to be on the safe side. There we go. So when I was down in Pismo, for whatever reason, it actually went up to like 44. I don't know why. So again, just quickly disconnect these, right? So I use this as a daily driver, so I'm not too concerned about running closer to the max pressure on these, because I commute a lot in this truck. So again, I don't know what the total time here is. I'm gonna put a timer on the video. All right, so let's drag this guy out. Okay. So, oops. Right, let's get this guy up here on the back end here. All right, so what would I do differently if I did this again? So I have a price out. I went through and did prices on everything after the fact. Should have done it before. So like I said, I ended up spending money on the Harbor Freight tire chucks. I don't think they were as good as the ones I ordered off of Amazon. The other thing that I do differently is this pressure gauge system here. I have a 160 and a 30, and I would definitely I'm gonna order a one that goes up to 60. That way I'm not going between them. I am gonna use this manifold here for other things. I have a couple air rafts and everything I'm gonna try to use to see if I can pump it up with, and I need a lower pressure gauge that'll go up to 5, so I can see when it's at like 1 or 2 psi. But the first thing I'm going to do different on this system here is get a pressure gauge that goes from 0 to 60 from Granger. other than that, look at this. We can see that this collected some liquid down here, so it did its job pretty good. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to pressurize the system and then see if I can bleed out this water, if that's something that I can do, or maybe it just gets stuck in there. So this is something I'm not too entirely sure about yet, but we can definitely see some water in there. So this is good that I put this in there. So I have I went through and calculated many different types of builds for this. Some have different kits. Like I ended up using these things a lot, these industrial plugs, and this one has the connector, but I used this one is a universal, so it can use automotive or industrial. So I set this up so that if I ever have to connect to somebody's system or connect to something with this $10 piece here with the industrial adapter, and then this, it says tank adapter, but it'll connect like a tire. If I ever have to use this, that's why I put the universal on here, so I can connect to somebody's automotive or industrial. I'm going to continue using industrial, especially considering I have this thing here. So like I said, if I was to build this again, instead of buying this adapter here, I'd buy just this one piece off of Amazon, so I don't have to get this 1/4 to 1/8 adapter right here. So that's something else. So one of the prices I made, they have this kit at Harbor Freight for $20. It comes with 2 of the quick connectors for industrial and several of the industrial plugs. The only problem is that you'd have to buy additional plugs. So I have everything priced out. Everything after tax is in between $100 and $110. If I was to build this for somebody, I'd ask for about $50, whatever the cost is. So if you're interested in having me build a system like this for you, that would be great. Like I said, one of the reasons I really like this system is that I can go around and I can air up all 4 tires at the same time with my Cobalt pump here. Eventually I want to get onboard air on my 4Runner, and then I can air up everything quicker. I can still use this system with that, right? I could connect this directly into a manifold for a onboard air, and it would hopefully air up everything a lot quicker. So that's something to keep in mind in the future. This, I could add another hose on here and have an extension. The gentleman online that did it, on the ends, instead of having the tire chucks, he put the tire chucks back about 10 inches so that he could have quick connectors on both ends. So plugs on one end, quick connector on the other, so he can make 50 feet of hose on here. So this if I strung it all out and connected them, it would be 50 feet. That's an idea. If that was something that you want. Again, I'm going to put everything up in the description. What I use, I'll put up some video up here where it shows the actual pricing, how much everything costs, what I exactly used, and then some other things. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Thanks.